as Allah Harlan. Hey, welcome to another edition of the well, I would say this our R&B podcast with myself, Miss J, and Stevie Street. Is there an echo there? How are you guys doing?
Good evening.
Hey,
Okay. Well, I know today's Super Bowl Sunday, and so I hope we're not going to keep people away from the hard time shows and stuff. But um, we are focusing on a very unique album, and this is Mary's Gratitude album. And funny, if you look at Miss J, it looks as though she is part of the furniture. Did you see that, Steve?
right, right.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I just looked at that. I was like, "Wow, goodness, okay." Um,
I'm just a bit concerned about what she's wearing on her head, though.
hey, this is a merry fashion.
It's not. It's not still alive, is it, Miss J?
Oh no!
Is it?
Don't
It's
be
not still alive,
concerned.
is it, Miss J?
No, it's not.
No,
Oh, good.
you're looking very fabulous tonight. Very
Thank
fabulous.
you. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Inspired by my Capricorn sister, our birthdays are a day apart. I'm January
Okay.
10th. Mary J. Blige is January 11th.
Okay,
Wow.
okay. I mean, she still looks good for her age, and that's Mary. And but also this is a welcome album. We can probably just talk about the album. Miss J, what did you think about this album, The Attitude, Great Gratitude?
For the Gratitude album, I did, I love my old school music. And this did have a lot of throwback to old school 90s music. So I was very excited to realize that because everyone's trying to do a new sound now. And I was just like, oh gosh, new music. I'm scared what I'm going to hear. Because the first song I heard from this album on the radio, I thought she sounded different. And I was like, oh, she's going to change it up on us. And I don't know if I'm going to like it. But she gave me enough to be pleased with.
Yes. Hey, Colin, we haven't seen you in almost, it feels like a year or so, but welcome that you can join us. Um, yes. Stevie, what about you? Because you were the first to tell me about this album, and what was your thoughts of it?
Well, going back to a No More Drama album, kind of after that, I was worried we was going to get a kind of another album like that where it's a bit depressing, a bit dreary, and she's talking about all the bad things that's happened in her life, and she's getting through this and getting through that, and you're like, oh gosh, we really, oh dearie me. And, it's one thing listening to Aaron Hall, I Miss You, and crying in your bedroom at 18, but to go from that to No More Drama, I'm hoping it wasn't going to be like that, but after hearing the first couple of tracks, I was like, whoa. I was very surprised. And I thought, let's get to, and then the next track, I was like, whoa. And at that point, I said to you and a few others, have you heard this Mary J. Blige album? And everyone's
That's
like,
correct.
no. So you better listen to it. You're not getting vocally, you're not getting the Mary J. the 90s. I'm just going to put that out there now. Vocally, but it's been a long time. And I could pick holes in a vocal on this album. On some of the tracks, there's some really seriously bum notes on this album that I'm like, oh, she could have done that. She could have sung that again. She could have, but you're getting an honest Mary. You're getting what I want from an R&B album: up-tempo tracks, some mid-tempo tracks, and some ballads. There's a good mix. There's something there for everyone if you're into R&B. No trap. Thankfully, no trap on the album either. No trap sound, no trickly trap beats. No trap mumble rapping going on. We've got some rappers that you've heard of on there that we know that we've grew up with. So it's a consistent album if you can put up with a vocal.
Okay. Welcome this evening, Colin. Yes, Saturdays you do your shows, and I know we're alternating some of our shows Saturday and Sunday, but I'm glad at least you're catching up on them. So for those just joining, we're talking about reviewing Mary J's Gratitude album. This is their 15th studio album. Man, that's 15th studio album. That's amazing. And when who would have thought when she came out with What's the 411 that she would have this longevity. But for me, I was surprised because I wasn't a big fan of Good Morning Gorgeous when that came out. I wasn't sort of a big fan of this one. It really back to the old school. Some of the samplings, some of the only just had three. I think she had 4 features, hip hop artists on there. But it really, you wonder how come we're not getting a lot of artists doing that? Just going back to what we know, what we love, get her also of her time and flowing with that. And also, yes, it's great that she's come out with an album. And as Denzel says, she's on tour with Mario and Neo opening up. So she's really trying to really reinvent R&B there. So Joseph was, go ahead, Steve.
I think her last album did have some good moments on it, and some would argue that is a better album than this one. It depends what you're looking for, but there was definitely some strong moments on her last album. There was a track with Anderson .Paak on. I do remember playing a lot from that album, as well as a few others. But I've just checked. She's 54 now, and I'm thinking, you're so busy for 54. You're out touring. You really want to be going out in America in your 50s, touring everywhere, probably touring around the world. It takes its toll. So you got to give her some props for keeping going, staying busy. Giving some of the younger R&B heads, a heads up, saying, "Look, I'm still out here. I still got it." So you got to give her respect that way.
Well, think about it. Michael was 50 when he passed away, and he was about to do some shows in the O2.
Health-wise, he was struggling, wasn't he? He was really, and I don't think Mary J. Blige is. I think this is
but I guess the generation of what 50s are now, it just seems so much different. There's a different sort of energy with 50. So, but yes, I mean, there's a number of people, and as Stevie would say, we do hope you do listen to the album. I believe you'll be pleasantly surprised. But
as older, as mature music buyers now, if you're gonna go out and buy an album, it's tough. It's tough. It's like to get an album like this, you just don't get it now. So this came out the same week as the girl group Flow. Have you heard of them? There's 3 girls called Flow, very young girls in their early 20s. So it was like 2 R&B albums on 1 week that you could buy in a store on CD and vinyl. So
how did that one do? How did that album do?
That's done well for that kind of the age group generation. Again, I didn't like it much. There's a few tracks on it, but I was just happy to get 2 R&B albums in my hand. I've not bought 2 R&B albums for years in the same week. Like we did in the 90s, where you go to the store and you'd be like, well, I'll get them 2, but I can't afford that one this week. That's what it was like then. You're like, you're spoiled for choice. Can't afford that one. I'm going to have to get it next week. And by the time next week come round, there was a few others had come out. You're like, oh no, I'm getting behind here. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cassettes and records, welcome. DJ All Day, welcome as well. I'm glad you guys are talking about. Colin says the album is a very consistent album. Denzel talks about a few of the tracks. I've got plans. I mean,
that's my favorite one.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to go through each of the tracks and stuff and just talk through them and stuff. But yeah, I mean, do you want to start off with Breathing, Miss J? What your thoughts of that? Was the one featuring Fabulous, the opening track.
Sometimes it's hard for me to put my personal feelings aside because I feel some kind of way about Fabulous now. I didn't really, I don't know. I feel like he wasn't necessary for the song, but the way she sang the chorus was very reminiscent of Destiny's Child from their Destiny's Fulfilled album. It's a song called "Is She the Reason," and it's the way they sing, she sings it just like Destiny's Child sings their song for the chorus. And so that, it kind of I think it would make people listen, pay attention to that. And this song was, when I first heard it, it was just like, okay, but watching the video and like listening to it even more gave it more meaning to me. And it can grow on you. So it's a decent track. I do like that they used what's his name? Screaming Jay Hawkins. I do like that dun, 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 that beat. So I do like some of the samples that she uses on this album, especially this track. Because who ever used that song in remix? I'm not sure if I've ever heard anybody take that and use it, but I did enjoy the samples that she put in with this song. So it's a decent song.
Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't like Fabulous's rap on it or how he sounded. I think he could have sounded a lot more fun. The old Fabulous on this track, I think it just seemed out of kilt. I loved the fact when she was giving us the like my life la 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 la, la when she was just saying, yeah, bringing that in there. I was like, wow, this is reminiscent of old school Mary. And I think if you are those who are really stuck in the past and really enjoy the 90s stuff, I think this track was like, wow, this just feels like it came out from that era. And I would say, this would have made my top 3 Mary J albums. Share My World is my favorite, followed by What's the 411. And I would say this one was better to me than My Life, just because My Life was so depressing. so I really, that's why I really rated how this album was. And so this one, with Breathing, was just such a fun, uplifting track for me. So yeah, big one. What about you, Stevie?
Yeah, I think you've already both said everything that needs to be said about the track. I like the track. I'm just thinking who has sampled this. There has been a few hip hop artists that have used that sample. I think someone's put in the comments, Biggie used it.
Because he sampled a Biggie track. He's in the credits as they sampled. Yeah,
I'm sure there was another big hip hop track using it as well, but from the early 2000s.
Is there one to say dun 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 F the F pop?
Dun, 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 dun. I can't remember.
Was it the Alcoholic? Somebody might know. The yeah.
What's your issues with Ori? What are you said something there about Fabulous, Miss J. You're not gonna go on, let's do a bit of digging here. What's going on here, Miss J?
No, he's not a good guy. I don't he doesn't want to party with Diddy, but I like that in him. But the way he made the headlines for it, how he treats the mother of his child.
Fair enough.
I don't like him.
All that aside, though, what do you think of his rap? What do you think of his rapping?
I didn't like it because I honestly, when he was younger, like younger out, like older back in the day, I feel like he was more energetic, or
that's right.
Yeah, were more fun or something. Like the play on words were more enjoyable. You know how some people can have a personality that you might not like, but you enjoy them anyway. Like I think I was just his rap annoyed me so much. It reminded me like, wow, I don't like the man. I'm like, okay, yeah. Next, I didn't even want to finish hearing him. I listened to him, but I didn't.
Did you pay the hair? Did you pay the hair salon a visit today?
The closet.
The closet to get. All right, okay. Wow.
This is all for Mary. I'm not usually blonde. This was just for today. Changing up.
Well,
change it up on you.
You know what they say about blonde ladies, don't you, Miss J?
They have more fun.
There you go. And on that note, next track, Nnamdi.
Yeah, I mean Denzel was right. He said the community worships My Life album. Mm-hmm. So the 3 albums the 2 albums that are almost sacred is the Wait to Exhale and the My Life album. If they're up against any other track, it just blows it. But that's why it's a bold album. But I thought this one had a lot more fun. I had a lot more fun with this one. Okay, so why did I just remove that? I just had it here, and it's never.
Need You More is the next track.
Yeah, Need You More, and this one features Jadakiss. Mm-hmm. What did you think, Miss J?
Another throwback to old school with the Destiny's Child. Well, not Destiny's Child, the Destiny's Child of the 80s, 90s. In Vogue. Yeah. I love the Hold On sample. See, if other people using this hip hop or rappers, I really don't pay attention to a lot of rap music because I stopped liking. I love old school. Like I like Heavy D. So after Heavy D and Tupac, I really don't care. So I don't, listen to much. So Jadakiss, I guess he was good. He's very gritty, and that grit in his voice. I did like that. So I do think that together they were a good combination for this song. Yeah, so that's what I put. I love the Dark Child made this, so that would make sense because I love Dark Child's music.
Yeah.
Usually he can make a beat that I would enjoy to dance, move, dance to. A lot of people's music I can just listen to it and don't even move. But when it comes to Dark Child's, he can make me move. So I do like this track.
Yeah, I mean, I think Denzel just said. I mean, as much as I loved it, I just didn't. I didn't how Jadakiss delivered the rap. It was because this is a fun upbeat track, with this En Vogue sample, and then Jadakiss, you know, just he felt it felt like he was a little too hardcore for the track, and I wanted somebody who could bring a lot more fun out of it. She could have done a track with Method Man, so this one was reminiscent of "You're All I Need," or
That
she
would've
could
been
have. Yeah, I think even Fat Joe would have been better on this side, or even Fabulous on this particular track. Just a lot more energetic. It is, with that sample, it was upbeat, but Jadakiss was, and it was just like, man, dude, you're just pulling down the vibe. And he's an amazing hip hop artist, and he got his flowers during the verses. But on this track, he just brought down the vibe. I would have loved to see maybe C's a little or Mace, something fun. It would have just gone with it. So that was just my only gripe with it. Just loved how they played with how they used the sample. Actually, I'm looking at the credits, and all four members of En Vogue, plus Denzel and Foster and McClory were all credited as writers. So a little credit there. But as I said, you're starting the album with "Breathing" and "Need You More." You're just like, oh man, this is it. This is it. As I said, I just Jadakiss as good as he is. I think he became a little too hardcore for this. People are laughing at me, but hey, actually, I probably would have loved old school Mary rapping on this herself. Like, yeah, you think I couldn't handle this, and yeah, that was it. Steve, your thoughts?
I was stunned. When I first heard it, I was like, "Whoa!" If I'm going to be hypercritical, though, I don't know who's done the mixing or the mastering on the track. It's pumped up a little too much. I can just tell if I got the track up and I seen the levels, it'd be going into the red. And I just think things in the late 80s, early 90s, if they're recording, and I'm going to sound really geeky, if they're recorded analog, there's more space in the track to breathe, just let the track breathe a bit. And I think nowadays everything's like distorting. It's like the filling when they're producing a track, they're pumping the bass, the beats, everything's just like really full. So I'd say it's overcooked. If they'd have just turned the levels down a bit, mastered it better, it would have been. It is a really good track, but I just think it's overcooked. But I do like it. I do, to have something that upbeat and in your face, I was very happy.
But what did you make of Jadakiss, though? I mean, did you think it fit, or did you have any concern with it?
Just what he does. That's Jadakiss. Like you say, he's got that grimy New York rap accent. I didn't think it didn't fit or it did fit. I just thought it's just him doing what he does.
I mean, as a DJ, can you imagine?
There's only one. The track at the end, which we'll get to, the rapping. That would.
Yeah.
Issues with Nnamdi. Didn't really have any issues with it.
No. Okay. But if as a DJ, we just had two tracks, "Breathing" and "Need You More." Which of the two would you think would do better on a dance floor? I mean, I'm sure both will. If you were to pick one of
things, I think the first track, it's a good warm-up track when you're coming into a club. That's pumping through the speakers. It grabs your attention. I think I'm just looking at the tempo of the track. You'd need to play the second one a bit further on when people have had a few drinks. You want to get them dancing. That's going to get people dancing. So that's what them two tracks do for me.
We're on to track number 3, "Beautiful People." Miss J.
Beautiful People. I put here that I have notes that I love the positivity that she's embracing on this track. but I said it's a decent song. I'm so used to Mary being kind of depressing with her lyrics and sad that I was just happy to see her being positive, you know. So that's what I put. Decent track, and I love that she's doing affirmations, self-affirmation still, and positivity, and it's up tempo. So it seems like there's a pattern with this album that she tried to do more up tempo or mid tempo songs.
Okay. Sagittarius was saying that Invoke don't get enough credits, and probably you're right, because they started off and we had a slew of female artists that came in, and they easily got pushed back. And but I would say this was I didn't like the you know, it's beautiful people. It was an okay track, but it just, you know, after the hype of the first two, I just didn't like. There's more like a dance track, and I just didn't. It was probably, I would say it's probably my least favorite on the album. You know, positive, great, but probably my least favorite. And if it wasn't on there, I probably wouldn't have missed it. But yeah, there was just something about it I just don't warm to, and especially after it starts off so well. But it's a good track and everything, but just not my favorite. Steve,
as usual, there's always a moment on this podcast where me and Nnamdi completely disagree with one another. And this is that moment. It's produced by Kate Renada, and if you've been a fan of the Kate Renada production for the last, like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years, you know, he's pretty. He's there. He's always there with the sound. He's always looking forward, and I think this for me was one of the standout cuts on the album. There's 2 or 3 standouts. This is one of them. I think he's right. Production. I think it's an outstanding track. I just think it's one R&B heads would hear and want to buy it, would want to hear it in a club or the radio. It is very different from the rest of the album, but that's probably why it stands out. It's definitely a 9, 10 out of 10 track for me, easily.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's I mean, it's definitely, yeah, that song gets a skip for me. I mean,
oh really?
Yeah, that's what Denzel just said. But for me too, I mean, I would listen to it, but if I was in a tight bind, I would easily skip it, and just so that I can move on.
Are you aware? You're probably not, but are you aware of what Kate Renada's done production-wise in the last 5 or 6 years?
No. I don't.
Probably, but if you've not, I get if you've not followed his sound, then I understand.
Yeah, if you're not into this, the sound, I mean, I just took it on. Let me listen to the song as it was, and you know, it just wasn't its best. But as I said, if you're into his sound, you could probably see a connection. But it was, as I said, compared to what I just started to listen to, it just felt a little out of place compared to yeah.
That would sound really good in a club, though. You'd have to hear it in a club now.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely. It was definitely a sort of a club kind of stuff. But as I said, if I'm thinking about it from a Mary from this album, it just on its own. If it was a single, just out there, those things where you remember Beyonce had that track. I can't remember, Cowboy Carter, but the one before that album, I don't know what album that was. And that everyone was doing some viral dance to. I can't even remember the album. I can't remember the song. If they keep playing it, you just get used to it. But on an album, it just as I said, it just did. Hence, unless you know the producer and you can play it differently. Track number 4. You ain't the only one. You ain't. Dun, 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 dun. Miss J, what did you think?
That grew on me. Like, this song grew on me because when I first heard it, I was like, "Where's her voice? That's not how Mary sounds." I'm like, this sounds like Stevie Wonder when he was in 1965 or something. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, is that Stevie Wonder? But it grew on me. So actually, I do like it now. It's yeah, and I love the video. So the video actually made it to me more enjoyable. So watching the video and see how they put that together with the song, it made me want to listen to it even more. So I think it's a good song. It's a good track.
Oh, I haven't seen. They had a video for it.
Boy, so.
Video for it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why they would do that. You know the piano real of dun 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 dun. They're almost like they're trying to hark back to that. It was a nice little mid-tempo, nice little returning back to normality kind of stuff. But I thought it was, if I was ranking my three least favorites, top three, it would be this two and probably one other one. So it felt like okay, not bad, we're coming back, but I felt it was just a little low. But it was just a nice little album. Goodness, I'm surprised they made a video. I was going to say it was a nice little album filler. So, goodness, I'm wrong. Yeah. I like that. I could imagine. And okay, so he was saying that he could imagine intro singing this track. Because I think the production, yeah. But, yeah, Stevie, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, when I first heard it, I kind of dismissed it. I listened to it a few times and I didn't go back listening to it, and it dropped last year. But over the last week or so, since I've really been listening to the album, it's really stood out. I would say you go back and listen to it, Nnamdi, because it's, I think it's a very strong song, and you've got a really, really good, strong piano hook going on there.
Yeah.
I think over time that this is going to be one of the tracks that you'll go back to a lot. That's what I think anyway. It's very strong. I think it's a good song. Yeah, and the video, I do like the video. It is Mary. She's just walking along in the street. It looks like I don't know what borough it is in New York or whatever. It might be Brooklyn or whatever. I don't know, but it enhances the song.
Right.
I'm surprised it's not blew up. It hasn't. Well, then someone said it went to number one on the R&B. It's not done much over here. Mary J. Blige tracks in the UK really, people talk a lot about them, but I don't know, but I do like the track. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It's a dun, dun, dun. I can't remember what song that was. Dun, 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 dun. I can't remember, but yeah, it was a decent little track. As I said, I like the whole piano thing going through it, but it didn't have the energy of the first two for me.
Well, that's it. It is a grower. This is what I'm saying. I dismissed it.
Yeah.
And then
but I've probably listened to the album. I probably listened to the album about 8-10 times though. So I've been.
So it's not hit yet. It's not hit.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, so I've been listening to it 10 times, but So
watch the video.
I may watch the video and stuff.
Well, if it's not happening, it's not happening for you. You can't.
Look, but remember, I started off by saying that after Share My World and what's the 411, this is in my top 3 Mary albums. So there is something about. I mean, it gave me vibes of Share My World, but and actually, I just realized that I think.
Listen, the 3 albums you mentioned before, Share My World, My Life, and 411, she ain't going to top them. She just
yes, but that's what I'm saying. That compared to the Mary album and all the others, that did really, this stood out for me. And it was only 40 minutes, or 41 minutes. I think Need You More, I wish you had got Little Kim, because they would have given me that I Can Love You type of reminisce. I think something, that's just my gripe. I just didn't like Jada.
Going on around what's been released now R&B wise, album wise, and what's coming out, what the younger generation of R&B artists are making. I think there should be a subgenre. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before. There should be a subgenre called miserable R&B. Because a lot of these younger artists are making very miserable, depressing, moody drug fest. Like, oh, come on! Where's your energy? In your 20s, you've got all that energy. What's wrong with you? Get dancing. Get dancing. They're all complaining about relationships and this guy's done this to me and this guy and blah blah. And this, I thought, oh, come on.
Yeah.
We were
But
spoiled. We had New Jack Swing to dance to, so we've just been, and hip hop soul. We were just spoiled, really.
yeah, I mean, your music is different. Miss J, we're going to track number 5, Never Give Up, produced by my good friend DJ Cassidy.
I was surprised to see his name on this album a couple times.
His first production with Mary was off Snoop's. Snoop did an album on Def Jam, and he had a number of different artists, and Mary had a track on there Cassidy produced. And so he came back and did 2 tracks on this, but this was the first one, Never Give You Up. Never Give Up on Me.
I wrote on here, My Love Don't Come Easy. I don't know what it said. I wrote sample My Love Don't Come Easy. I don't even know.
Gene Khan.
Okay. It's okay. It's a decent song. I wasn't really moved by it that much, but I only probably listened to it once or twice. So I don't know if it's one of those songs that'll grow on you, but I just put it's decent. It's okay. That's all I got.
Okay. I was this was my jam. I was like, dun. I mean,
Really?
goodness, I loved. I didn't know the original track, but I just felt like the way up it goes up, then Cassidy brings it down again. Then I just like I can just imagine in the club, just like okay, just playing the loop, and a lot more fun. The thing about it was that she sampled pretty much the whole album was samples, but they were depressing samples. This felt like for the 70s and 60s. But my life was like, if you look at my life, it was everything that I'm going down. It was like.
Well, hold on. The sample Roy Ayers, Everybody Loves the Sunshine. That's not a depressing track.
The lyrics, all her lyrics, all those things she was singing, everything she was singing
she
about.
put the depression over it with her whatever she's going through.
Yeah. So that was the vibe of that. But this one was more of a. Even though it was an upbeat track, it was the lyrics and everything. Just even you can really vibe to it, and I can just, as I said, it just the constant simple beat over it and stuff like that. So I was really like, okay, and they kept it simple. I think this track was just, let me said, 3 minutes and 18 seconds. It was almost like, even though it's, like we did it back in the 90s, but we're going to keep it short. So you want more. So, yeah, I love this one. It was, one of my favorites on it. Stevie, what about you?
I mean, the Gene Khan, My Love Don't Come Easy is a bit of a Philly. If you're into soul music, 70s soul, that's a bit of a classic, that, a 70s soul classic. And he's just took, I know what he's done, he's just took that loop and he's dum, 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 dum. What you're not getting is all them classic Philly synths, the warmth of what you get on Gene Khan. All these samples that she's done, or the producers have done, I go back to the originals and, it's never as good as the original. Gene Khan is an incredible singer. I don't know where you two put Mary J. Blige vocally. She can sing, but she's not. She's not a great singer. But she puts her heart on she wears her heart on her sleeve, and I think that's why she's been incredibly successful, because women can relate to that. They can relate to her songs, the stories, and she does get away with a lot of bum notes, but I do like this track. It is a loop. It does monotonously go on for a bit. It could have added a bit more, but it works. This is what DJs do. When you get DJs who go on to be producers or make tracks, they do a lot of sampling, and they use the knowledge of what they've collected to come up with tracks like this. But they're not DJs. They're not musicians, so that's what you're missing out on. You're missing producers who are proper musicians on top of that, who can play a bit of keyboard and do this. That that's when you get a good full production.
Yeah, but I think if you think of the of what a DJ producer does, is like be breakthrough in the club. We're not trying to win you a Grammy, but we're going to make you.
what can I do that's going to make people dance to this, rather than
And that
what can I do to make? Are people going to play this in 40 years? Is this going to be a classic? Is it going to get played on the radio? Is it going to mean a lot to? They're thinking of that. What can I do just to? They're coming from a DJ head.
Yeah,
you know?
remember when so Rodney Darkchild was saying that when he was doing which remix he was doing for Puffy, and he was going to play his, and he was whoa, just keep it simple, just keep it simple, and that's how we do it. And that's, Cassidy learned that kind of simplified, get them in the club and stuff. And
it does what he, he does what it says on the tin. He just wanted to sample something that probably people knew.
Oh, I didn't. I never knew the original. I probably did. I didn't know the original. I just.
Well, you probably did. When you heard that, do you think I've heard that somewhere? You must have thought I've heard that somewhere before, surely.
I felt it felt familiar, but it felt like a nice, good track. Like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
I just felt like I can warm to it. That's probably one of the things that you do need is, an upbeat kind of sample. That if this was, I can't remember the last time, but I could just imagine if it was played in the club, people would just like, oh, this is.
Well, look, 5 tracks in. We're 5 tracks in now, and I was thinking, wow, what a fantastic start to the album. This is 5 tracks in. We used to get albums back then where one side would all be up tempo and the other side would be full of ballads.
Right.
I was just so happy at this point. I was just stunned. I'm like, yep, we've got that first side. It's in the bag. Now let's go to the next side of the record now. The more slower down, see if it's still hitting for us.
So we got track number 6, Nobody But You.
She slowed it down right here. She started to slow it down. I thought this, like you said, was going to be the B-side and everything was going to be slow. She slowed it down, but then she picked it back up. But this one, I do have Slave Jam, Dark Child, nice groove. I like the groove on this one. And to me, I feel like there was a Stevie Wonder reference in here that made me, of course, I love Stevie Wonder too. So that caught my ear, and I really enjoyed this song. Thought this was a good one.
Yeah, I think this was a proper throwback, a track that could have come out in '96 just easily. It just, wow, I thought, wow, this is, and it's not really me just thinking about the vocal talents of how she's vocal gymnastics. It's just how she's conveying a message and how they've kept it simple with that. And I think I love the fact that, she went back to Darkchild, who did that, who really emerged with some heavy tracks on Share My World. And that's why I get that type of the connection I have with Share My World. But I love the fact that she's doing a lot of Stevie by saying about how some of our R&B artists now are talking about, man, you cheated on me. I'm going to sleep around it. And she's going back to the traditional, hey, let's love ballad. Let me sing something about a relationship. And which is probably why, as I said, you can feel the familiarity of what we used to enjoy listening to. Because Mary, was a lot of heartbreaks, but she's singing love this time around. So that's why I love this one. Yeah. What about you, Steve?
It reminded me something of the Faith Evans debut album. And you talk about 96. It reminded me of Faith Evans 95 album. But then again, Faith Evans was, you could tell there was a heavily Mary J influence going on there. The same producers and everything. But again, it's another grower for me. It's like you say, nice, smooth down, blah, blah, blah. Another grower. I mean, it just made me think, have any of you heard the new Weekend album? I'm talking about lyrics. We're getting, the guys talk about ending it all. That's how bad it's getting. It's not about ending it. It's like some zombie apocalyptic album. I'm like, what is going on?
He's been going dark for some time, so
this is like the state of R&B at the moment. I'm like, gosh.
Wow. Pressing R&B.
There's one thing I would say about this track, and I don't know if you say, but this it felt like it was inspired by a Teddy kind of stuff he did with Blackstreet. There was there was a way it sounded like, knowing that Rodney was on it, it felt like he went back to some of the Blackstreet type of Teddy production in some of it, but it, as I said, it comes from that mid-90s, and yeah. But you said you liked it, but you think you still need to keep listening to it, Stevie?
No, I do like the track, but it didn't like stand out to me. But
Jump out.
It's a nice track. I'm not skipping. It's not one I skip anyway. There is a few tracks on here that I will skip, but this is not one of them.
But 3 minutes, they're keeping it short. They're not trying to overload it and stuff like that. We go to track 7, which is another slow jam, probably even slower. And this is Here I Am. It has this type of, it has this kind of zzz. But what did you make, Miss J?
I listened to the words of it in the video. I love the video.
Oh, there's a video too. Man, I need to.
She's giving us back like 90s 5 era. Like she had she brought the red hair back. I mean, she looks so good. This could have been like done in the 90s. Like her look and everything. She looks so great with the red hair. And the lyrics though, what got me is that, you know how we're used to Mary singing a sad love song, but this one, it was her saying, here I am, like she's ready to love again. And I was, that woman has been through hell and back, and we have heard about it. We've heard the hurt in her voice, the pain in her voice. We know from the stories of her ex-husbands or ex-fiancés, they put her through crap. And if I was her, I would never want to try again. I'd be done. So by listening to this song, I was just thinking, gosh, Mary, that's amazing that she's like, here I am. She's ready to love again. So like that was, I'm amazed that she even wants to try again. So that made me kind of like the song. I like the message that she gave us in this song. I'm all about messages, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I need to see the video, but without the video, I'm like, this is those type of stripped back songs that you hear in you can listen to the lyrics, you can hear the sense, the confession, what I'm saying, and it's not lost. The story not lost with the music. And this is something that Adele did very well when she was singing some of her songs like Hello and stuff, where you can hear what she's saying and the stuff around it. But I did love this. And maybe she didn't have to try and do some, runs, vocal runs, but I think it was just like, this is where Mary's at her strength, is when she's coming from the heart. And as you said, it could be something that she's ready for in how she's saying it. Being vulnerable is where Mary's at her best. And I really did like this one. From the first time I heard it, it's one of the things where as I'm listening, I'm hearing it's like, wow, take my time with this. Being the shepherd, almost Blair was putting on a note.
Wait, the ladies,
okay.
Listen, in the 50s, it's hard. You got to work hard to keep the weight off you once you get past a certain age. And that goes for men and women. And if women have had children, gone through menopause, it's even harder. I think she's still looking good. A bit of paper, but she's still looking good.
Yes. No. Okay. And no, it's not that we and we admire talents. Dell is a vocal talent. But anyway, Stevie, what was your thoughts about?
For me, it's like it's the old hands in the air moment, isn't it? It's the old get the candle out the gig and wave the candle out and tear in the eye, and you've always got to have this moment on the album, and this is it. She's got a ball gown on, she's wearing a heart on the sleeve, and she, like you say, she's ready to love again. And she needs that moment, and it's R&B artists can take something from that. Do a track where you put it all out there. Don't be afraid. Mary can do it, so can you. And Mary does it well. Here she is.
Okay, so we go to, I think the next track. This is track number 8. It's one of those tracks where
You sound like you're listening to this album on the go, Nnamdi, just to remind you.
No. I think when you think about the title, you're like, okay, how far we've come. When you normally you just don't F up, you put the lyrics in there, but she just went, I don't, kids could be watching, but don't F up. 2 minutes and 54 seconds.
I feel like this is a continuation of the previous song. Like, here I am, I'm in love. Now, don't F up. Don't mess up. That's what this was. This is the continuation of the story. So, that's what it is. It starts off with I'm in love, but yeah, don't mess this up. So that's what this was about to me. It was okay. It was decent. But I was surprised that she gave that title. When I first saw it, I'm like, oh my Lord. What is Mary J about to talk about? So, continuation of her story. I want a Mary J. Blige movie. That's what I want.
I think if, as you said, if you listen to it as a continuation, it's like, okay. And I think if that's how, and maybe I need to listen to the album again just to see if there is a story that she's going through, because those two do complement each other. But I did like the song. I mean, it was hard in the car when we were listening to it, and then she's and don't F up. I'm like, okay. Okay, I can't listen to it with it. But I think lyrically, I think that's the fun part of what I loved about this album, is that she was going through. I could listen to what she was saying. A lot of artists today, you don't know what they're saying. They're mumbling. It's all in one monotone. You can't hear what they're saying. You need to be of a certain generation to really understand the lyrics. But with Mary, it was like, okay, I understand I can hear her lyric word for word, and appreciate that. I'm not sure what sample it was used on this one. It felt like a 70s sample. Anyone know?
I'll try to listen again just to remind myself, but it does sound like one of the tracks from the My Life album.
Yeah, that's
one of the
it did seem like that.
These next three tracks, though, 1, 2, 3, I've got to kind of listen to a bit more, because this is the bit where the album, I was so blown away by the first half of the album. I didn't give this second half much of a big listen, but no, this one is a solid track. I think it'll grow me more going forward.
Okay, but what did also? Okay, nothing. Never give him. Yeah, there was nothing, but nothing more for you on that.
No, I think so, like you said, production's solid. I just need to listen to it a bit more. But again, it's one that I'll keep listening to. I didn't feel the Here I Am track. I probably skip because it's a big hands in the air. That's probably the first track that I'll skip. This one I'll probably listen to a bit more. Like I said, there's two tracks on this album that I'm skipping. Here I Am is one of them, but this one I'm not skipping that one.
Okay, don't skip that one. Miss J, I can be your superhero, superpowers. Track number 9.
When you look good, you
Lots
should
of
be
this
celebrated. You know what I got from this? When you look good, you should be celebrated. That's what she said. that is a lyric in this song. When you look good, you should be celebrated. I said, not really. Okay. Well, I did like this. I thought it was a decent song. I think I liked it. It was because of the moments of the song that made me go like, what are you talking about? Okay, that was cute. So it was a cute song. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I do like the first side better than the second side, B side. That's what I'm calling this side. But it was cute. No vocal gymnastics, but cute.
I thought this was more of a song that she was trying to, if you were thinking of a song that was more current, production wise, it sounded like a current kind of production. Vocally, it still sounded like Mary, but almost as if she was trying to be like how some of the most R&B artists are singing now. I don't know any of the producers on this, but it was a nice, decent track. So I wouldn't skip this. I would still flow with it like I would with Here I Am and Don't F Up and Superpowers. I'll still be flowing with it the same way. But yeah, I did enjoy it. What about you, Stevie?
Yeah, it's another like I'd say between 6 and 7.5 out of 10 for me. It's a solid track. Again, I need to listen to it more. It's not one that I've played a lot since I've got it. It's not one that I've gone back to a lot. Probably because of the tempo of it. But yeah, it's a solid track. It's a solid enough album filler. That's what I'd say this track is.
Yeah.
An album filler. Yeah, as I said, I think if you think, the album had 12 songs, so for it to have a few that good above average songs, that wasn't a bad one. We go to one that Dr. produced solely. I Can't Wait for You.
It's a relatable track.
It's a what?
I feel like it's relatable. It's a relatable track because you don't really hear from Mary J. Blige a song about somebody leaving her text message on red. It's talking a lot about an undecisive guy. And like, I'm not waiting for you. I got you while you over here deciding about whatever chick you want to text back. You're not texting me back. I'm not waiting for you. That is what this is about. I'm like, Mary J. Blige, people do that to Mary J. So unless she just wanted to sing something other people talked about or lived, that's what this song was about. And I was kind of surprised to hear her singing about something like that. Like, I would have never thought she's talking to somebody leaving Mary J. Blige on red. You know how men do. Y'all got more women than men out here, so y'all might have 20 women that you're talking to. Steve, you're always talking about side chicks and stuff.
No, but she's had those types of situations that have come through now. So
true.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Good evening to my AI girlfriend and my side chicks. How are you all doing? Sort of get that in there while I'm here.
Oh goodness. I liked it. I did like it. As I said, it felt like one of those throwback tracks. It felt like it was good on the album. But as I said, I was more inspired by her up tempo stuff. But as I said, it continues the vibe that started off with Here I Am. It just continues that vibe. But as I said, you're speaking about the lyrics and stuff like that. What about you, Stevie?
I'm trying to figure out which track of the My Life album it reminds me of. Was it Mary's Joint or something? There's just something in this production that someone in the comments will remind me. But there's a track on the My Life album that this is not just taken off. There might have been a remix of it. It's the same thing or very similar. But yeah, it's another solid track. Really solid track.
Mm. So we go to track number 11, God's Child, featuring Fat Joe. Look at me now.
Is this
Miss
the one
J.
that samples? Okay, no, this is not. You know what? This one, I'm kind of petty. Call me Patty LaBelle because I'm petty. I was a little offended because Fat Joe said him, Nas, and Jay-Z are the last icons left.
Who the last icons left?
That's what Fat Joe said. He said him, Nas, and Jay-Z. That's what he rapped about, and he said that in the rap in the song. No, sir. No, sir. You not one.
Who should he add? Who should he add to that?
He didn't need to put himself in it. That's what before.
He shouldn't have been in there. Okay, but I don't know if I can gauge on rap because I don't like nobody no more. But LL Cool J could be on the list. I guess he might be too soft, but I like Big Daddy Kane. I like LL Cool J. Not Fat Joe. So yeah, this one I'm offended.
Well, to be fair, he was around in the early 90s, Fat Joe. He has been going a long time. I know what he's saying, Icon.
When he mentioned that LL was before him. Big Daddy Kane by himself was before him. And you talking about you one of the icons? No, sir. No, I'm sorry. That right there. No. I shouldn't even talk about rap, I guess, because I don't think I could qualify. I just know he ain't one of them. I know that.
he seemed to get a lot bigger in the early 2000s. That's probably for me where Fat Joe made his name.
Okay. I think you might be right.
Well, like I say, would I put him in the Hall of Fame with the likes of, like you say, Big Daddy Kane, with Nas, Chuck D, them types of people? It's debatable, because that's for another podcast. That is for another podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think on as much as I didn't like Jadakiss on I Need You More, I probably would have preferred him on this. It was more of that. It was more of the type of track that would have he would have done better justice to than.
Why you're some Julian Assange, Nnamdi?
Actually, you do look a little bit like, when you think about it.
We're just cracking up. Put that comment up here. I can take a bit of roasting, Nnamdi. Take a bit of roast.
Julian Assange, the Wikipedia, the WikiLeaks. Yeah, so I think I would have preferred Jadakiss on this track. But yeah, I would have preferred him on this track. But it wasn't too bad. But as I said, I did like the throwback, the fact that it was a throwback track, and it kind of fitted in with the vibe of the album. But I didn't like her vocally on this track, though. I just didn't feel like it got the best out of her vocals on this particular track. So that would be my only gripe, is that I just didn't. It was like a nice hardcore hip hop track. If Jadakiss was rapping, she just sang the hook, maybe, but I just didn't like how she sang across it. So yeah, but that was just But as I said, it's out of 12 tracks, I was cool with it. What about you, Stevie?
It's a skip for me. I get it. She's doing a bit of bravado on this track, telling everybody that she's, I'm still out there. I'm still doing this. I get that. I get it. But it didn't do much for me. Considering the rest of the album, so it's not a bad thing. A couple of skips out of a 12-track album. It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. Only a couple that I probably won't go back and listen to again. So we're not doing too bad. I could do without it, though. So not for me.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, it was. It just maybe I just didn't like how Fat Joe flowed across it. It felt like he was happy to be there, and he just wanted to say a few words, kind of thing. It just didn't. That's why I said I would have preferred Jadakiss on a track like this, because it felt like it fitted in. But I didn't like how Mary sounded on the track. So yeah.
You said, say that again about Fat Joe. He was there lying. He wanted to be there, so he got.
Yeah, it just felt like he was just like, "Hey, come, Fat Joe, can you say a few words here?" And he just like, "Yeah, okay," It felt like he was the way he was rapping and controlling. It just didn't feel like he believed in himself on this track. Somehow, I just didn't. Right. I didn't believe how he was flowing with it. So forget the fact that it says him, Jay-Z, and Nas. It's just that he didn't sound believable on it. But then again, as I said, I can't complain that this is Mary, 11th song on a nice album. But I will always say that actually the fact that they kept the songs short on average. I mean, think about it, the average album in the 90s was about 80 minutes. It was about maybe 75 minutes. This is half of that, and it's 11 songs. Actually, it's 12 songs. Yeah, it was 12 songs, 41 minutes. I mean, that's, you'd almost feel like you didn't get your money's worth if you didn't get any interludes and a sort of an inspirational track at the end. After they've talked about stealing, killing, and robbing, then they'll have a little Christian song at the end just to wrap up the album. Yeah, everyone will tell you they'll have booty call, then they'll say the Lord is real at the end just to say, yeah. So it was really weird in the 90s. Yeah, I don't know how they managed this.
That is hilarious and accurate.
Yeah, everyone had to have one. They had a Stevie track as well, but yeah, But it's, yeah, as I said, really good one. So we've got the bonus track. I don't know how this is a bonus track because, Stevie, did you get the vinyl? Because is it not on the vinyl, this track? Or
I looked at the vinyl and I looked at the price of it, and I thought I'm getting the CD because £60, which is
for
what
the vinyl?
is that nearly what's £60 in dollars now? Is that
It's
like
about $100. Yeah.
$75-80? I thought it's just too expensive, so I got the CD. Did it say bonus track on the CD? I don't remember, but I can't remember.
Okay.
I went for the humble £11 CD. I would like that double vinyl. I would like it immensely.
So, okay, Miss J, what did you think of the bonus track I Got Planned featuring, is it Ferg?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was my favorite one, I believe, because I wanted to start singing "Outstanding." I just wanted to, because of the sample, I just loved it so much. And she tricked me, I don't know what I like the beat. It's easy to do. That's the recipe, though. Take an old school track that everybody loves and use it, because they already liked it back in the day. They're gonna like this song automatically because of that. So automatically got me. So they got plans to make us like that song, and they got me. I loved it. It was my favorite. One of my favorites.
I would say that I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy the rap. I just thought it just didn't feel like it was part of the track. It just felt like, it just felt too different. It just didn't flow. And it's almost like, well, we need somebody who's current kind of rapping. So I wasn't a big fan of the rap, but I like it's one of those tracks where you could see that it's Friday night and let's just, like Blackstreet Good Life kind of vibe. It had that, like, I can see a video with the DJ playing and they're all holding up their Sun Goddess drink and everything. That's her wine drink, but I could just see that flowing in there. But but I just didn't like the rap. From somehow it just felt out of place with the track. But I would say when I talk about my three least favorite, it would have been in there as one of my three least favorite tracks. So it's amazing that you said it's one of your favorites.
I like, the beat.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want the beat and you just round out the rest of the stuff. And I think that's what the song did for me. I just was going with the beat.
What about you, Stevie? What did you think of it?
I didn't like the rap like you, and I've actually done an edit from the radio. So I took the rap out. It took me a while to do it, but I've got a version sat on my computer without the rapping. And I was like, I've done it. Done a nice little radio edit without the rap. For those of you who are hardcore Gap Band fans, you'll know it's not outstanding what they sampled. But to the majority of people hearing that track for the first time, you're going to think it is outstanding, the Gap Band. But it's actually I Found My Baby, which came out years later on another album, which is a very similar sounding track to Outstanding. Both great tracks, though. If you've not heard them, if you've not heard the Gap Band, I Found My Baby, go and listen to that because it's a great, great track.
But on the internet, it does say that it samples Outstanding. That's what it says on. There's a website that shows you sample tracks used, and it does say it was.
Well, I would say you just go and listen. Go after the show, YouTube, Gap Band, I Found My Baby, and you realise that's what I thought it was outstanding at first. Then I thought, well, hold on, there's a few of the bits going on in that track that I thought that's not outstanding. That, and like you said, I realised it was I Found My Baby.
Do they use the same song though? Like Marvin Gaye was a person that would use the same music for different songs.
It's the actual chord changes when you listen to the both. You realise.
Okay.
But it's a good club track. They could have done without the rap, but I think it's a good way. It's a good way to end the album. I got plans for the weekend. It's a good feel good track for the clubs, or you're having a barbecue in America, because they have, let's face it, they have a lot better weather than what we do over here, don't they, Nnamdi? So yeah, I think it's a really solid way to end the album. I did enjoy it. You can't go wrong sampling Outstanding. It's been sampled many times before, and it's such a great track to sample. But yeah, it is what it is. What do you rate the album out of 10 anyway? Nnamdi, what do you rate it? What do you
Well,
give
no,
it?
look, ladies first, Miss J. If you had,
Rate the entire album.
No, what
Yeah,
would you
yeah.
give it out of 10? What rating would you give it?
Oh, this
6,
particular
7, 8?
song. This song or this song?
Oh, the whole album.
no, the whole album.
I would give it a 7.
7. That's good.
Yeah, I'd probably give it. I'd probably give it a 7.5. I'd say it started well. I maybe because I have new music that has been that consistent. Now, I remember speaking to Sean Rivera from As Yet, and he was talking about, yeah, he could hear her vocals and she was off there, and I think the good part for me is that I don't have that type of ear to hear those pitches. Or you were saying that the mastering wasn't great. I don't have that type of an ear, so I'm listening to it and I have a very different. So for me, scoring it high would be some of the how it's taken me back to the old school. How it's like, oh, this is a new Mary track that I really enjoy, and I'm almost rating it as I would now. I wouldn't go and start thinking, oh, if I was to light it up to My Life or a Breakthrough or any of those albums, because that was made in that era, and she was singing at a different level. But for us of today, I would say, man, this is a nice 7.5 album, taking away all the technical areas that I can hear that people a lot more advanced in hearing can hear, which Stevie said, yeah, some of the vocals were off. I didn't hear any of that stuff. I did say in some of the tracks, I didn't like how she sang. What track was that? I mean, in some of the tracks, I mentioned that I didn't like how she, not Superpower. Yeah, God's Child. Maybe I didn't like how she vocally sounded, but I wouldn't really go in depth like that.
Well,
But what about you,
one
Steve?
of my favorite tracks on the album, that Beautiful People, there is 2 bum notes on that, and I would have, as a producer, I would have, I'd have just said, get back in the booth and just. There's a word she sings the word day, and she goes day, and I'm like, whoa, you can't. How has that got on the recording? Please, you won't miss it now. You go back and listen to that track, and when she starts singing day and then day again, you'd be like, oh no. But I'd have made her go back in the studio and just do that properly. I can't believe it.
But they could have tidied it up though with the auto tunes and stuff. They could have fixed it.
Sing it properly, sing it in tune. That's all you got to do. She's a singer. This was, But I'm surprised it even got on record. I'd give, as an album though, I want to give it a generous, very generous 8 out of 10. And before y'all go, whoa,
Okay.
8 out of 10, what are you giving it 8 out of 10? Well, what's coming out now? What is album wise? What is coming out now that's 8, 9 out of 10? I can't think of any albums that. And she's trying to give us an R&B album that we wanted to buy, that we used to buy back in the day. So, or like you say, it's not perfect. It's got flaws. It's got a few skippers on it, but I'm happy with this. You're not going to get many more albums like this moving forward. You're just not. So enjoy it for what it is. Celebrate Mary being in her 50s and still going out there and try to get people out to a gig, and because a lot of our favorites are not around anymore. You got to enjoy them while they're here.
Right.
Yeah, no, definitely. Chin Beats, we haven't seen you in a while. Welcome.
Mr. Chin Beats.
DJ All Day. Yeah, DJ All Day. No, as I said, I don't. I think when you think of Mary's, foundation albums like the 411, My Life, Share My World, Breakthrough, the Mary album. I mean, she was just on a roll. I think because we've been starved with really good R&B music for a while, and the fact that at this stage in her life, at what 54, is she still making an album like this? That's why I was really impressed, and I really warmed to it. But as I said, if I listen to her catalog now, I probably, I was over generous saying, yeah, it was in my top 3. But I think it just reminded me so much of Share My World, which is my favorite Mary album, that I really gave it some love. but definitely, this is I have to appreciate Mary for actually making an album like this
Exactly.
and then going on tour, because no people
Yeah.
aren't doing it. People are running away. I mean, I wish Beyonce, I wish Beyonce did a proper R&B album. I wish she got some of these old school R&B producers and did an album like this, because it would have actually had a lot of grab, because she has that kind of star power right now. But if I had to choose between Destiny's Child Beyonce and this version of Beyonce, I prefer
She wanted a Grammy.
the
She wanted a
Destiny's Child.
Grammy, Nnamdi. She didn't. She wanted to make an R&B album. She wants that Grammy, mate. She sat there every year at them Grammys, waiting for that Grammy, for a name to be named.
I could have
You might get your R&B album
could
now.
have
You might actually get it
no.
because she's got the Grammy now.
I could have predicted that she was going to win it, because Jay-Z said to them, "Hey, you guys, this time last year, he says he put them all on point, and they all were afraid of him, and they were like, oh yeah, let's see." Yeah, he just said, "How come you haven't given her a Grammy for the best album?" And then what did they do the next year? Coincidentally, actually, he said that. He said that a month later she drops this album, almost like saying, "We're going to drop an album. You better think about it. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. I'm not going to get any of you into the Super Bowl unless you give her this album." And then, surprisingly, she wins. So, yeah.
If you make a terrible country album, wins a Grammy.
I don't rate the Grammys anymore. Over the last, it's not worth it as it is. I don't want to get started on that. But what I wanted to say is that actually she's probably like when Bruno Mars did what was that album that had 94 Karat Gold, and he did 24 Karat Gold. When he did that album, it was like, oh, R&B New Jack is kind of back, and you should have had artists just jump in on the bandwagon and say, yeah, let's continue. And it sort of died down. And I think I appreciate what Mary has done. Is like, you know what? I'm not going to try and be like everyone else. I'm just going to go back to my roots. Gave us a really nice, solid album, 7.5, 8. And I just wish that people who will have bigger label situations, like a Beyonce, will do something like this and open the door for others. But I have to give Mary her props for this album, and I appreciate the fact that she released it. Yes, but yes, it's I just thought about it because I sense one of the kids I'm working with the video of Survivor, and I said listen to the lyrics because she's going through tough time. Then I realized, during Destiny's Child, I actually did like Beyonce part of Destiny's Child. I liked that she was humble, she was fun. So the version that we have now is not the same. They're two different versions, and I'm not a big fan of this version. But I know she has some sway when it comes to being able to push R&B, because she can make a massive difference.
Are you talking about Beyonce having a tough time?
No, R&B.
You know what? Tyrese just gave us some good R&B this year. Tyrese did October London. They gave us some good R&B old school type feel.
You dropped a name there. You dropped a name there, Miss J. October London. I like that.
He's amazing.
Yes.
But they don't have the gravitas though. The gravitas though. Yeah, even if Tony came out with an album now, she doesn't have the bandwidth. The bandwidth. Only Beyonce has that bandwidth right now.
Promotion, I guess you're right, because
she can she dropped the country album, didn't come out any videos. It's won the Grammys everywhere. She dropped a dance album, no videos. Yeah, it blew up everywhere. So she's got the bandwidth to do stuff. So we can name a lot of R&B artists now, but do they have the bandwidth? So Mary's actually going on shows and talking about her album. She's releasing videos. She's doing this tour. So she's getting people's attention, but she doesn't have the bandwidth as a Beyonce, and she signed one year with Morris's Kids. I think More Time or More One, or I can't remember what they're called. and they sound amazing, sound great, and everything. But as I said, sadly is the only one that has the bandwidth to make a genre. If she did a new Jack Spring album, it would just blow up,
That, yeah, that's
because
true.
this band. So she's there, and I think if she does that, people can piggyback off of her. That was just my thing, But it's a great album, and we just really appreciate Mary for that. R&B's dead, yeah. Black Church is not singing it. But anyway, Stevie, you didn't get the vinyl because we were doing this because he wanted. It was in line with the release of the vinyl, but at $100, I think we might just pass on that. I think the sound probably be one in the end.
$100 plus more on Miss J's outfit tonight. Got my money. Took all my money.
You got your money's worth.
Yeah, that shirt. That's hat was $100.
Oh, goodness. But guys, we know it's Super Bowl, and
who's on the halftime of the Super Bowl this year?
Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
It's amazing that he won the battle against Drake, and this is his reward, was to do the halftime show. It would be strange. It would be surprised if he brings Drake out to do on a performance. That would be that would break the internet. Or maybe he brings out Lil Wayne, who was disappointed that he's from New Orleans and he didn't get the opportunity to headline. So it might be some surprises there. But anyway, yes. Any final words, Miss Jade, and then Stevie, before we...
What's next week?
Who's next week, you said?
What we'll do next week? Give the...
I think there is the Blood on the Dance Floor, and there is the Babyface. So Babyface is on Sunday. It's a Valentine's special. And I believe that Blood on the Dance Floor is the following week. Okay, it's the 23rd. The 23rd is the Blood on the Dance Floor.
And to all the ladies out there, remember, Valentine is coming. Check your DM, or else if you don't, you'll be alone.
Oh, wow.
Check your DM, ladies. Valentine is coming.
Okay.
Or else you'll be alone. All them guys you wouldn't talk to, they used to DM you a few months ago. Check your DMs again. Give them a chance, because you'll be alone this Valentine's.
Being alone is a blessing. What are you talking about? Yes.
We sat there all alone with no roses, no meal, no new hats.
Did it yourself.
No new hairdo. Because we'll give that guy a chance that's been DMing him.
Yeah. Anyway, guys. So we thank you guys for joining in. It's good to see a lot of you guys who joined us for the first time today. As I said, what we're doing today and what we do as much as we can on this, when we do this live stuff, is to celebrate. We really want to appreciate Mary for doing this album. And yes, she could have been much better, maybe, but actually she's putting out an album, and that has to be appreciated. We hope that more artists can come out with some good stuff, but we appreciate the fact that she's given us stuff to listen to. We're going to be celebrating more music in the coming months, in the coming weeks. As I mentioned, for the Valentine specials, Babyface, Tender Lover, we're doing Michael Jackson's Blood on the Dance Floor. We're doing New Editions, One Love. We're going to do Tony Braxton's debut album, and Colin. And one day I'll get to interview Teddy Riley. Thank you, DJ all day. Yes, Monday was my birthday, and I got a special birthday song from Karen White, nice. Which was which blew me away. I'm like, my goodness, But yeah, but the fact that we celebrate, that's the thing. Stevie's first time this album came out, Stevie says you've got to listen to this new Mary because it's really good. and that's what we want to do. We want to keep it as positive as we can and celebrate the good things.
And there's
So,
a new Jack album
yeah.
by a guy called Pretty Rico Bands. Check him out. He's done a new Jack Swing album.
Pretty Rico Bands.
Pretty Rico, Rico Bands with a Z on the end.
Okay.
He's done a new Jack album. Yeah, the young fella. Give him a chance. We'll try maybe get him on the show or do an album review. You know.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, thanks everyone for
And a happy belated birthday to Nnamdi. It was your birthday this week. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nnamdi. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip. Hooray!
Okay.
Hooray!
Yeah. But thanks, guys, and yes. So there are going to be some good albums, some fun things that we're gonna come up with each week. So just check out for those. But for now, guys, we go ahead, get ready for the Super Bowl, and we will see you guys next week.
Watch proper football, please.
What's proper football? What is proper?
Get the Premier League on. Let's get the Premier League on. Liverpool, Man City, Man United. Football, folks. Not this nonsense.
Yeah.
Wearing a helmet and that's a load of nonsense. That. Your feet, not your hands. Actual skill. You know.
Yeah, the world will stop for the Super Bowls, but either the Eagles or the Redskins. But as I said, I'm glad we were the warm-up act, just like we did with just like in Living Color halftime. We're the warm-up act. So as you guys move on to it, but we'll see you guys as I said next week and over the next couple of weeks with some new stuff.
And that guy who said I look like Julian Assange. As they say in Russia, and Moscow.
Uh-huh.